So yesterday, I saw It Chapter 2. After 2 years of waiting, does it live up to its predecessor? Let's find out. So Chapter 2, the follow-up film to 2017's It, and technically the third adaptation of Stephen King's novel by the same name. For me, it's been one of 2019's most anticipated films of the year. So does it live up to the trailers and the promises made by everyone involved after so long? Well, in my opinion, I'd say yes. Yes, it does. Beginning with the pros. The main cast, which is the Losers Club, of course, and of course the Dancing Clown himself, Pennywise, they all do brilliantly. The adult actors deliver superb performances, which really made you rekindle those connections and bonds felt towards their younger counterparts from Chapter 1. An example of this being their reunion scene in the restaurant where they all begin to remember their childhoods together. The chemistry, the pure joy and the amusement the actors are able to convey, it made for a genuine feel of reunion for me. Finally revisiting those characters after 2 years. As obvious as it is, considering what everyone else is saying of course, Bill Hader is among the highlights of the cast, delivering a standout, humorous and even emotional performance as grown-up Richie. Bill Skarsgård as well continues to stand out. His performance as Pennywise continued to be an obvious draw for this film. However, in my opinion, I'd equally like to highlight that James McAvoy is a brilliant standout for this film. He clearly gives a lot to this film. He delivers a wonderful performance as the adult Bill, and the ranges he has to go through throughout the film as the unsure, traumatized man struggling with regret for the past to the determined, unintentional leader of the group. There is also a part of me that's just happy for him to have been given this role, because considering the outcome with Dark Phoenix, it's personally just nice to know that he'll be finishing 2019 with a good film under his belt. Jessica Chastain also does a brilliant job with her performance as the adult Beverly, and the rest of the cast, everyone in general, they just do great. It's a perfect cast that deliver on their skills as actors, and I honestly couldn't have asked for anything more. I'd also like to add that the supporting actor who plays the adult Henry, he does an alright job, and his younger actor too. I am surprised that they brought him back, because his screen time amounts to only a few small scenes that could have been placed in Chapter 1, but there's nothing wrong with that, and hey, it keeps in continuity flowing at the very least for the casual viewers who might not have gotten it straight away as to who's playing who. Among some other pros, while I haven't read the original novel and I've only had the 90s miniseries and the previous film to go off on, I'm aware of the basics regarding its origins as a cosmic being / alien and the great turtle Maturin, and the Stephen King Necroverse, as some would say. Going into this film, I was hoping to be given a bit more than what the miniseries offered. I can say now that I enjoyed what they did give us. Even though it's not the main focus, it was nice that we got to see its extraterrestrial backstory. It's a good highlight for me, being able to see that glimpse into the past of King's world, and I'm happy we got to see that on screen. Onto the scares now. Of course, the first movie wasn't a flawless one, but the scares that it gave us were grand highlights for the viewing. With this film, we'll touch upon this more in the cons section, but I can say that there were some good ones, close to some alright and even funny ones. One I really enjoyed was the moment that called back to a certain 80s classic by John Carpenter. I think you all know which scene I'm talking about. Maybe you could chop this up to Bing just because it's my first viewing, but I'm not a fan of spiders in real life, so I'll just say that it was an effective scene that left me shivering on my knees. But now, we get to the cons. This film, in a similar vein to the first film, its tone is a bit over the place. However, while Chapter 1 had a bit more focus, and I felt had a bit more of a direction of what it was trying to be at points, this one at certain points felt confusing, and as such made a few moments feel redundant in their goal. It feels unsure as to whether or not it was trying to be a horror scene or a comedy scene, is basically what I'm trying to say. There were some points in this movie where they deliver a good and easy scare, or even a build-up to a scare, but then they just hold on to it for a bit too long, and it's conveying, in my impression at least, that it's trying to make us laugh. An example of this being the moment where young Richie has his encounter with Pennywise and the Paul Bundy statue. It's a good scene. You feel a sense of dread for the character, but then when Richie runs away, the scene keeps going a bit longer than you feel it should have, and just focusing on Pennywise's face, holding onto that shot, and it really just got chuckle out of the audience I was with in the theatre. I feel that these decisions, unintentional or not, clash with the horror experience of the movie. There's even a scene later in the film where Henry attacks Eddie, and for a few seconds you're feeling scared for the character and the outcome. But then Eddie's reaction of "Why'd you stab me?" and him almost comedically exiting the room, I just felt a bit conflicted with the emotions I was meant to be feeling towards the movie with those scenes. And there's even one moment where Eddie's fighting the leper, and it's built for a bit of a tense scene where he's overcoming it, and then out of nowhere we get this almost Deadpool-esque scene with the leper vomiting on him, and this music plays. Am I meant to laugh at this? Am I meant to feel disgusted? Mixed emotions, I guess, for those scenes that just went a bit too long or in that certain direction. Depending on the types of movies or horror movies that you enjoy, this might not be a bad thing. You could argue that this is a welcome change compared to pretty much every other horror movie out there that is just trying to be non-stop jump scares and gore and try to get a scare out of the audience with everything it's got. For this, I guess it's just down to your own personal preferences. For me, the first film had a tighter grasp on its tone. It knew when to hold on to the funny moments and when to deliver on the uneasy scares and horror elements. One of the other things that I'd say was disappointing was the backstory aspect of it in the film. Now, I'm not referring to the backstory itself, but rather the fact that there wasn't enough of it. Again, I haven't read the book, but I really was hoping that we'd dive a bit deeper into the history and the lore of Derry's past encounters with it. Maybe see his arrival on Earth and his early effects on humanity on full display. I mean, in a flashback, of course, like more slower and built up, as opposed to a montage, which we got in the film. Maybe even see the events of his involvement in the Black Spot, or the 16th century scene with it and the mother that was scrapped from part 1. They were some of the scenes that I was hoping we'd see in this film. Seeing a glimpse into the macroverse and even Maturin could have been awesome. However, we didn't get any of that. Which, at the end of the day, I understand, because this isn't an MCU film. It's not building to anything, and the story is about the losers trying to defeat Pennywise. But I just feel that it's a shame we didn't get to see any of the crazier and grander corners of the King's world realised or brought to life on the screen. That's just me. And lastly, of course, the runtime of this movie is very long. 3 hours, or almost 3 hours if I can remember correctly. It's a long movie. Now again, being my first viewing, I'd honestly say I can't pinpoint exactly any certain scenes that could have been removed, because I don't mind long movies. I felt very invested, and as such I didn't really feel like bored throughout, because a lot felt relevant to what the story was going on, for the characters and so on. However, I'm sure maybe after a few more viewings I'll be able to pinpoint some scenes that could have been scaled back or cut out altogether. In the end, this is a very long movie, so depending on how you feel about the types of films that you could stand to sit down and watch for a long period of time, this could either make or break the film for you. I don't see it yet, but I can understand it. So, my overall verdict. I can say overall that It Chapter 2 stands as an entertaining horror film, as well as at points a decent character piece. It does well with what it needs to do for the story that it's trying to tell, and it delivers. There's a lot of things to like about it. The acting was great, and the main cast deliver well-earned performances that live up to the talents of their younger counterparts from Chapter 1. There were also some decent horror elements and even intense scenes throughout. However, this time around they do feel far less effective, not helped by the decision to have certain scenes play out for almost a comedic effect. Add in a long runtime, this overall for some will make the experience feel like a drag at certain points. Regardless, I'd say it's a must-see film if you're a fan of King's work, and if you've got nothing going on this weekend, why not give it a watch? I'm sure you'll find something to enjoy about it. So, thanks for tuning in everyone. I am Kobi, this is Grey Owl Reviews, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.